What's up, everybody? Welcome to Trader's Retreat. This is a channel that's been around for a little bit, but trying to take it to the next level. So, just want to welcome everybody here. We've been putting on the spaces every day. So we are live on Twitter with spaces. Sigma and Dave and myself. So, if you want to follow me, I am at Trader's Retreat, same as this YouTube channel, on Twitter. I don't host them that often because I do get off in the middle of the day. A lot of times I have to run. But my partner, one of my partners there, is at Sigma Investor 1. So the number 1. At Sigma Investor 1. Follow him. You'll know when the spaces are on. I do host them a couple times a week. And we're going to hopefully do some evening spaces going over maybe some more of the macro or questions relating to what we're going to, you should start seeing here on YouTube. So, what are we doing today? Don't mind that chart. That is obviously SPY. What I want to do is just show you guys a quick, brief example. We're going to build some zones. Actually, why don't we do them on SPY? Let's do that. Or no, let's do something else. Let's do, what's a good one? Actually, let's do PayPal. PayPal's a good one. And remember, I'm doing this off the cuff. Hopefully they match up pretty close with what I've put up already. But, maybe there's some adjustments to be made. Just keep that in mind. This is more about just how I build them, right? So I go to the 4 hour, first and foremost. I like the 4 hour. And there's two things. When we're in a situation like we are now, where we have come down, right? We have data back here, and we have data over here. So what I want to do, or what I like to do in this situation, is I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to start finding zones for what I think are areas where I see explosive moves to the upside or the downside out of basically consolidation zones, right? So supply and demand levels. These are a little bit different than the supply and demand levels that I have very strict rules on how I build them. These are my regular zones you see in white. And these are my highest confidence, highest probability trades. They are something that I learned over the years. And yeah, I mean, it's not my invention, but they are unique in the sense that where I build the zones, I've yet to see anybody do it exactly the same. And they pay, right? They pay out. So what am I looking for? Couple housekeeping items, right? One is obviously follow us on Twitter. Hop into the spaces. Anything that you have questions about, you can post in the comments of the video. I'm going to be tracking those. I'm going to be paying attention to this channel more. Going to clean it up a little bit. But this gives us something to kind of start off with. And I'm going to try to keep the videos short enough that, they're not going to become the long conversations that I've had in the past on this. We may do a few of those. We may also get into doing Zoom calls. I'm going to see what interest there is, right? I don't mind spending time during my day while I'm trading anyways. I don't mind doing some videos, of course. I like helping people learn. It helps me put everything into a linear order, keeps the flow of my thoughts, kind of in check. Helps me become a better trader. With that said, down the road, depending on what interest there is, we may do some sort of paid service, right? Now, the spaces are free. They're always going to be free. You can come in and ask questions there. You can trade with us. If you can spend the time throughout the day with us in the spaces, you probably don't really need a lot else, especially if you're already, kind of have your own strategy and you know what you're doing. I share my charts on Twitter, as much as I think is relevant, and I answer DMs. I mean, we're very easygoing guys, right? And I'm not the only one there. There are some really good traders there. But with that said, I have had some interest I've had, a handful of people who would love to have a more personal experience. So maybe Zoom calls, right? Something where I can, break down piece by piece, spend a little bit more time. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Trying to work out what is realistic. I'm not really in this to make money from a service. It'd be more just making sure that, the time that I spend, same with Sigma or Dave or anyone else that may be involved in this, to make sure that the time that we're spending, we're getting value for that time, right? Time is money, and and if you're getting value out of something, it makes sense to have it, have a monetary value put on it. So keep that in mind. The details should be coming here. Hopefully in the next week, I'm going to have something figured out, because there is interest, right? I think it would be great to sit down with everybody and, whoever needs this help, right? And wants to say, hey, how do you build these zones exactly? Like, how can I do this in real time? Maybe it's something you only need to do for a month. Maybe catch, 4 or 5 calls or something like that. And then it's like, hey, I just come into the spaces, but I get it that that's not, not everybody can do that. And the shit can be confusing, right? So these things are, it's kind of what we're trying to work around. The idea here is to get more and more people focused on trading what I consider the proper way, right? Managing risk, acknowledging the plan and sticking with it for when the trade goes against you. Everybody can make money eventually in the stock market, or the majority of people. But what happens is you immediately give it back, you lose it, right? Or you oversize, right? And it blows up in your face. And, you go through this emotional cycle of feeling, high and then depressed, high and then depressed. You don't want this to become a drug, right? What you want to do is make this become a relatively simple and easy way to prosper in life, so you can go enjoy the rest of your day. I have a passion for this, so I don't mind spending a lot of time on it. But, again, that doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be at that level. So it doesn't have to be that for you. So anyways, keep your ears open. I'm interested in what people will think about that. I will mention it on the spaces, this week sometime. This is the week of, so today is August 3rd when I'm recording this. I should have this up this afternoon into this evening. So yeah, anyways, let me know. You can DM me on Twitter. Those are open, at least until that becomes a problem. But for right now, they're open. You can post a comment here on YouTube as well. So let's get into it, and we'll start going. Just wanted to take care of that because, there has been some questions, and I think it's a logical next step. But again, it's not going to be a call out service. It's not going to be like a substitution for the spaces, right? We're on spaces. It's free. It's open to anybody. We want that to grow. What it would be more for is maybe breaking down how I build these zones. I am going to put videos up for free on YouTube, but maybe a more personal interaction where people can ask me questions directly, or if you have a certain stock or chart that you want charted out, or you want my personal opinion on, that would be something that I would do in probably a more private setting if we don't get to it on spaces. And obviously with spaces, you can't see my chart. I can't share it, but on a Zoom call, after hours, obviously that makes it something useful. And there's a lot of things in the background that I've learned and that I use in my thinking that it's just too much to talk about on spaces. I would have to dedicate, and we're going to try to do this where we have maybe, once every couple weeks, we do like an evening space where we can talk about specific, like a specific part of what I use as far as my thought process, as well as some of the macro stuff. We've had some really good macro discussions inside of the spaces. So anyways, keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Get a hold of me on Twitter in the comments here. You can DM me on Twitter, whatever it takes, right? If you're interested, let me know. Maybe let me know what you might need or what you're thinking of. Because to me, that's something, I'm happy to kind of build this around. Like I said, it's not, we're going to be on spaces. So this is more of an after hours, eventually maybe building a course. I want to see what people actually need before I just put something out there. It's not worth my time to just randomly build shit and just be like, hey, I hope it makes money. Like, that's not what it's about, right? Make plenty of money trading the markets each day, and I hope that is becoming evident for people. Not every trade is perfect, right? But I manage the downside and I capitalize on the upside. And that is something that anybody can do with a little patience and a little experience, especially when you're not blowing up your account. So, all right, guys, back to the zones. Sorry, that is 10 minutes into the video, but let's check this out. So we're on PayPal, right? couple things. I click on the magnet here, so I'm using TradingView, right? I click on the weak magnet. That allows me to snap to different parts of the candles, right? It either snaps to the open, the close price, the high or the low. I use the bodies of the candles 99% of the time. When I'm actually, with these zones, there's no set rules to it, except what I'm looking for are areas of interest, right? So immediately this stands out. This, and I'll zoom in a little bit more. This candle right here. So keep an eye on it, right? The body of that bullish green candle. Now, I may adjust these as we go on, but for right now, the body of that candle stands out to me. I like the interaction back here. I like how we came up out of it. We got almost a retest. We trended higher. It was one of the first areas that we landed on during the COVID. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to grab a few more zones here, right? And then the idea is to we're going to go over to where we've seen some current price interaction and just make sure that they are still valid, right? A lot of times they need a small amount of adjusting. So, and keep in mind, price changes. The swings have changed quite a bit. Price movement back here before the pandemic is much smaller than the price movement afterwards, right? So, the zones don't, a lot of times they grow, a lot of things happen. So what I saw here is some consolidation. This zone's obviously smaller, so what I may end up doing, I actually think I'm going to do this. So what I'm seeing here, we came up and tagged this, and I come over here and I see the consolidation again. So I'm actually going to drag this, and boom, there we are. So there's a couple zones, right? A couple more that I'm looking at up here. This last consolidation and this explosive move to the upside. I want to see what's going to line up with the top over here, the pre-COVID high. To me, it just makes sense. Oops, I didn't grab it. To me, it just makes sense that there's something going on here, right? Obviously, we topped out. There's probably going to be more zones in between, but for now, we're going to grab just the top of that candle. All right, we like that, or I like that. I do see one more. I'm liking the price action over here. And again, guys, I'm going to try to keep this under 20 minutes. Make it realistic for people. All right, so there's that. So I'm going to come back here and, well, one more actually. Let's do down here. You can see where price is at, current price, right? 98.15 after we had that massive push. So I come down here and this is an obvious zone for me, okay? I'm looking at the body. I'm going to grab the body of the green candle, not the red for right now, but we will adjust that, right? Obviously we bottomed. These are 4-hour candles. So we had a session in between here where we stuck at the bottom and then we obviously popped up out of it. This also comes into mind. This area right here. This was the last before we exploded to the upside. Keep in mind, this is during all the COVID craziness, right? But the reality is that you'll see, I assume, you will see where these still play out. And I'm going to grab this right here. So I grabbed it off where we pushed up, where that green candle ended. I see we've had interaction. We gapped over it here, came back, right? These are just rough zones. This is where we came up to. We had a little consolidation. Obviously, these are, 4-hour candles, and then we popped up again. Looks like we got the retest right here. So I like that. So now, boom, we pop over here. Excuse me. Let's see how this looks with current price. So one of the things that stands out here is probably, let's see here. I actually like, I don't know why the chart looks so screwy for me here. But yeah, I actually like the way this looks. So check this out, right? We came down, boom, we landed here, consolidated on top. We did push through, but then we came back up, tested the top of the zone, held inside of it and dropped. So there could be a zone up here. But the thing is, you can see where we came back and retested it here. So for me, especially anyone like me where we're day trading or we're doing, shorter term swings, I want to know, I want to be able to take the short when it hits my zone, right? Not, I want it to make sense when I get down onto like the 5 minute or the hourly, right, or the 15 minute. And you could see there's some little zones in here. I'm not going to go too crazy on these little ones because this is more of just an overall explanation. And anybody can do this, right? You can do this. Start practicing. Just throw the zones in. Don't try to make it perfect. Get an overall feel, right? What we want to do is we want to look at this chart like we're reading a story. How do we transfer what we're seeing on the screen right here into, a textbook story if we needed to, right? Well, we use the candles. We read the candles. It's important to know what the candles represent and to kind of see what price was doing on the way down. So we come down, we'll start right here just for shits and giggles. Price landed, buyers showed up, right? We closed the candles here. They stopped us. They stopped the sellers. Boom, we got a little pop up, but it held. You can see sellers. Well, let's zoom in on this. This is dumb. All right. Production will get better quality as well throughout the days. Eventually, we may even have a wonderful, cool graphic that everybody can ooh and ah and all that good stuff. But in the meanwhile, let's just focus on what we're trying to learn here. So we popped up, came back down. You see this doji candle here. I'm trying to keep the cursor just off the side. Indecisive, right? But we did close above. This gives me an indication here that this zone that I grabbed from back then, right? This is holding true. We saw, it's holding above the zone. That's a good bear or good bullish indication. That was an opening candle, right? This is a midday candle. So at noon, we close there. We get a slight push down. Would have been a really good buying opportunity, right? You get a buy, push up, we come all the way up. And look at here. I can already tell you there's a zone sitting here. Let's just put that in. And price came up and tested that, right? So where is the top of the zone? I don't know. I'm going to pick that just for now. There's probably another one up here. There's definitely one up here, right? But you can see price pushed all the way up to that zone, immediately got rejected. There are a lot of sellers sitting up here. Or there were. Come down, right? So price came down, slammed down. We opened, we tested the top of this zone, this next zone down. And, sellers were there. We shot down. Buyers did step it up here. Kind of came up. Overnight, we had this, or let's see, is that middle of the day? No, I think that's overnight. We tried to get back into the zone. We did one time here the next day. Boom, get shot down. Sellers are too strong. Until we came down and touched this zone here. And remember, I built that zone off this candle, this green bullish candle here. But this is how you get confirmation. Hopefully everybody can see this, but look at that wick, right? Almost perfectly to the bottom of the zone, and boom, buyers show up, eat it up. We close here, we gap up the next day. As soon as we get back into this zone here, you're seeing sellers step in, right? But there's a war going on. A lot of sellers, more buyers. Sellers, more buyers. Boom, 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 back and forth. Finally, the buyers give up. The buyers run out, right? Or we pushed high enough that a lot of sellers stepped in. We get price, one last little push here. It's the last battle, right? Jericho, whatever. Boom, slam down. Come slamming back down, and look where we close. Or look where we bottom out and then close inside of, right? We're kind of where this wick was, right? But again, I didn't even see that. I'm looking at this candle here. It makes sense. This is where buyers have shown up, right? And the sellers obviously are winning, but they're not taking it down any farther yet. So we have some consolidation here. This candle just makes sense. We try to push up again. Boom, come down. Next candle, right? This is the morning candle here. This candle, boom, slams down. We end up closing just underneath this zone, which, we built from back there. And you know what? Maybe this one, no, I think we just added this one. So this zone here, we closed under it. Makes sense, right? Next, we see some downside. And we see some ping-ponging. They didn't quite get to this zone. You could argue there's probably a zone here, right? You could say, oh, no, that zone's right here. You could move that up. But I'm not going to do that right now just for the length of the video, right? You get the idea, guys and gals. We're pushing back up into the zone. You got to read these candles like it's a story. The buyers stepped up, right? We opened here. Sellers were heavy, but buyers stepped up as we got down, to this 112.50 area. you know, like 112.60. They came in hot, heavy, pushed us back up, right? We closed, we got all the way up to the zone, but there's a lot of sellers up here, so boom, we closed right here. But it was a green candle. So we open again, you know, and who knows, right? We push up, we push down all the way. I mean, well, we open down here, but, you know, we get this gap and we push around and boom, come up, right? Long story short, that battle gets weakened, weaker, you know, still a red candle overnight. We open and boom, down we go. Slam right to this next zone. Perfect, right? We built this zone off of, you know, back in 2020 and end of 2019. But these zones still make sense. These are still areas of interest, right? And they line, you know, as you get on the bigger time frames, it makes more sense. You can debate the reason why, but I know that they do work. You know, we battle it out here. Obviously, we're seeing selling pressure. Boom, down we go. We hit this zone, right? We get down below it, buyers step back up. So we have a little bit of consolidation, except obviously we're seeing a lot of this. Now, there's a lot of shit going on with the Fed here, right? Obviously. This is, you know, there's a lot of things pushing price around, but you got to understand that this is still one asset. I mean, the chart or the zones, they work, and the chart, as long as it's still respecting the zones, I have no problem seeing it respect it before. And you see how price right now is inside of a zone. So we push up, we get back up to this level here. You can kind of see we're getting near this consolidation over here. I mean, we're not all the way in a zone. You might argue there is a little zone right in between here. That's fine. You can chart, you know, again, you can chart these any way you want, but these are my main zones. As soon as we get down, you know, sellers are there. As soon as we get a close inside of this, right, over pre-market, we get one last push up, cannot do it. Sellers step in, and we come slam down. The play here is when we break the zone, we come slam, you know, you catch the short. When you get here and you push up, you get a close above, you get a retest of this zone. See, we're talking right here. You go long. You get that retest, go long. Boom, push up. So that's all I'm going to keep it at. I'm going to try to keep this short. It's a little bit over 20 minutes, but under 25 minutes, and I'm okay with that. That is an intro into this. I will do more of these. I will try to focus with less chatting in the beginning, but there are some moves that we're looking to do, right? Or there's some, you know, we're trying to make this, I mean, we see a big interest on Twitter. The spaces, you know, they seem to be a hit, and I've gotten a lot of DMs, you know, just people asking questions, right? So I'm going to try to come up with something if you want a more focused service. But, you know, again, you don't need it. You can come to the spaces and, you know, keep your eye out for the videos. I'm going to try to do more of these. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to see in the videos, right? If you have any, you know, questions, comments, or suggestions for maybe a possible like paid tutoring service type of thing. Again, it's not going to be call outs, right? We do that for free pretty much on Twitter Spaces each day. It would be more about like a study time, going over specifics, maybe talking about a specific chart or two, you know, with plans for the morning, you know, and then, you know, obviously it's something that might be referenced in the Spaces the next day. It's a work in progress. So any suggestions or, you know, comments on that, that's fine. But also video content. What would you like to see? Would you like to see how I set up the expected moves? I do have a video on that, but I don't know. I need to edit it and do a few things. So, you know, are people interested in the expected moves? How I get those moves, or how I get those prices and how I chart them out. There's, you know, the supply and demand, obviously, the actual supply and demand levels that we'll do on a smaller time frame. That is definitely going to be a video, probably the next one. So yeah, let me know. I'm interested in a lot of your thoughts and opinions. What I love about our group is that it may not be the biggest yet, right? Although I do think it'll continue to grow. But it's a focus group, right? The people that come to our spaces, not only they trade a lot like I do, a lot like Sigma does, Dave does, you know, but not exactly the same, but our mentalities are the same, right? We're serious about what we do. We make a living off this, right? And there's serious money to be made here. So I love our group. It's a focused group. That's why it works. You know, that's why it's so valuable. It's not just a random bunch of people who, you know, kind of come and go. You know, we're building a tight-knit community, and that's what keeps me here. That's what keeps Sigma around. Same thing that keeps Dave around. We're all better for each other's inputs. We can have disagreements, you know, whatever. We can take opposite trades. It really doesn't make a difference as long as we are continuing to learn and to, you know, to focus our own strategies. So good luck trading to everybody. Again, look for more of this, and yeah, we'll have a great rest of the week trading. Hopefully I can get this out tonight. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and comments. Thanks a lot.